Washington and Spokane voters are famously independent, voting for the person and not the party. Voters want to know the person behind the policy. Join host Sulani Madsen as she interviews 2016 general election candidates for local, state, and federal office on the experiences that have shaped their lives. The Meet the Candidate series is sponsored as a community service by the Ponderosa Republican Women's Club, the law office of D.C. Cronin, and We Believe, We Vote. Now, here's your host, Sulani.
Welcome to the conversation on Meet the Candidate. Our guest for this session is Marcus Riccelli, who's running for the 3rd Legislative District House of Representatives seat. Welcome, Marcus.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Okay, so I know that you are an incumbent, so you should be able to tell us a little bit about the responsibilities of the office.
Well, first and foremost, I feel that our responsibility is to, every 2 years, pass a state budget that, one, because we're not the federal government, is balanced, but make sure that we reflect our values as a state. And we can have a robust discussion about what that is. But right now, currently, I think our main job is to go in there and make sure that education is fully funded, among other things that we fund in the budget. That's the big one up next year, and it shall be a very intense and robust discussion.
Okay. So you grew up where, and tell us a little bit about your education.
Yeah, I grew up North Side. I went to Meade High School, went to Gonzaga University, and that's where really I wasn't one of those ASB presidents. I had my political awakening my senior year. Some noticed that I was watching C-SPAN and maybe drinking a beer for fun and thought that was quite odd and interesting. So I was a business major. I wanted to make as much money as possible, and I was entrepreneurial. But my Jesuit education, the philosophy, the ethics, critical thinking really influenced me, and I translated service to others that I learned at Gonzaga into public service, and I kind of got my interest there and worked on campaigns, and then went to work for U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell and State Senator Lisa Brown. In between there, I got a graduate degree, a Master's of Public Administration from the University of Washington.
Yeah, I think I met you when you were first working for Senator Cantwell.
I'm
trying to remember.
We were, probably up north. I was probably up.
Probably something up north or else out in Lincoln County.
Right, yeah.
On some issue or other. I can't remember what it was now. Might have been Farm Bureau. But at any rate, so life experience. You kind of went right into politics out of college.
I did actually work back in Washington, D.C. for a very small public affairs consulting firm that had me doing everything from pouring cups of coffee to meeting with U.S. senators. But it was really a great experience for me because there I learned, I was working actually for Fairchild. They were trying to get a new school built, and we were able to, through the Department of Defense budget, get some dollars.
Michael Anderson Elementary.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. And it was very impactful for me because I got to go back and visit and see this school that was a community center for the base. It had one outlet per room, had a very old HVAC system, and I heard this, hey Mark, and I go by Marcus now, but I recognized a lot of my high school and junior high friends by Mark, and I look back and it was one of my really close friends who was teaching in there, and so I got to see that those federal dollars really impact our community up in Fairchild. So that was a really impactful moment for me.
Yeah, it's a lovely school. What was your first job?
Well, my first job was being a soccer referee, but my first job that I was really consistent day in day. I worked at Senior Froggies up north. I did everything from wash dishes to fry meat burritos and make tacos and work the register, and it was great. They were great people, and they worked around my athletic schedule and my school schedule, and I was pretty consistent and actually took that job into working college as well, part-time. So,
what did you learn from that job?
Well, I think as a high schooler, the opportunity to show up somewhere, put in a hard day's work, get a paycheck. I learned how to work well with others, and I also learned that mint burritos, you should never put a bunch of mints in a flour tortilla and fry it because it doesn't taste very good.
Oh, yeah. No,
I tried everything on the menu except for the Mexi Burger because I just fundamentally didn't think the Mexi Burger sounded good. So,
well, everybody gets to start somewhere.
That's right.
So what kind of special talents or insights do you try to bring to your caucus or to bring to the job?
Well, to the caucus, I think I'm one of the only Democrats east of the Cascades, so I bring an Eastern Washington perspective. Being from Spokane, I think I get looked to for a lot of those Eastern Washington issues. Working for Senator Cantwell, I covered the eastern third of the state. So I felt like I got to delve into a lot of those issues and understand those, and make sure that those issues are looked out for within our caucus. From a broader perspective, I think that on my first few days there, I went over to a number of my Republican colleagues and I said, I'm going to be a hard guy to hate. I build relationships. I work well. I'm a founder with one of my Republican colleagues, Hans Zeiger, from the Puyallup area, with the Under 40 caucus, because we think it's important for folks to get to know each other, and it's hard to tweet out a bunch of partisan, visceral nonsense if you know about somebody's interests, and we're trying to make sure we're not the other Washington, that we're our own Washington here.
I think that's much appreciated. So what are some of those other interests?
So I was proud to prime sponsor the bill to create the WSU Medical School. I work very closely with a number of folks in this community, including Senator Baumgartner, who I don't necessarily see eye to eye with on a number of things, but we put our community first, and that was something I believe we've banked a lot of our future around the healthcare sector. So I've been passionately working on that. I'm very interested in healthy kids and healthy families. So I've been working pretty hard on getting school kitchens back into our schools so they can eat healthier food. And another thing is we need to make sure they're active and living healthy, active lifestyles. And we require by state law 100 minutes of PE each week. But I'm finding out that a lot of schools really aren't meeting that law and that obligation. And I think that not only will we be able to combat this obesity and diabetes epidemic, that kids will do better in the classroom. There'll be less disruption, and they'll have higher academic success if we can provide better food and make sure they're active.
Yeah. You mentioned before we went on to recording about the year where you moved and started a new job, and all of those things stacking up on once, and didn't recommend it. How have you've settled into this into new house and new job? And
so in 2007 I started a new job. My wife and I got married, and we built a new house all in the same year, and it was an interesting year. For this job, it's been tough. I have a 6-year-old and a near 3-year-old at home. There's definitely a pull as these sessions have gone longer, but it's a commitment I'm willing to sacrifice, and quite frankly, my whole family is willing. And I couldn't do it without my mom and my dad and my mother-in-law and father-in-law helping to watch the kids and do all these things. But they understand that it's the importance of the position, and that Amanda and I want to create even greater opportunities than we had right here in Spokane for our kids and their peers. And that's not, quite frankly, Lonnie, that's not what's happening right now in Deaconess and Sacred Heart. Kids are being born, and they're being told that their life expectancy will be low, that their educational attainment is going to be bleak, that their incarceration likelihood is high because of the zip code they're born in, and that's not a fair shot. And that's happening right here in Spokane, so we need to turn that around.
Yeah, that's an interesting chart to look at. I've seen that as well, the one that looks by zip code, and how it affects all of Eastern Washington. So I'm looking at what special insights you'd like to bring. I think I asked that a little bit, but something about besides just Eastern Washington, what do you bring from your day job?
Right.
This is a citizen legislature, right?
So I work right now. I work at Chaz Health, which is one of our federally qualified health clinics. But outside of that, I think too, I bring the fact that I'm one of the only legislators that's carrying student loans. Raising a family, there's not, although it's changed quite a bit since I've come in the last 4 years, there's more members that have families, but balancing families perspective that I think is good, and somebody who maybe, we have a lot of folks who are maybe later on in their careers or older, and I think can bring that perspective of kind of raising a young family and understanding that. I think that's important. And then just my background working for both Senator Cantwell and Senator Brown, a particular expertise that I think has allowed me to hit the ground running in understanding how things work back in Olympia and where to, actually the technical side, where to try and move bills out of committees and make sure that they keep moving along in the process. The whole place is set up for bills not to pass, and so you have to work really hard to move policy forward.
Okay. Well, we're kind of closing in towards our last 2 minutes. We got a little bit more than that. Why should voters favor you in this election?
Well, I'd ask them to start by going to marcusriccelli.com to look at a tab that says Working for You and talks about what we've delivered. I've worked across the aisle. 4 years ago, I told KHQ, they asked for 5 priorities. 2 of them were to bring a WSU medical school Spokane. I prime sponsored that. We're moving forward that. To pass a comprehensive transportation package that would complete the North Spokane corridor. We did that. We brought over $1 billion to Spokane County. And look at my track record of working with the community to answer their needs. And I think that I stand by that, and I'm proud of that. And I look at this as a job hiring, and this is an interview time, and I think I should be rehired.
So you're still excited about going back over to Olympia?
I'm excited because I think their work's important, and it's selfish in nature too. I'm looking at my son and daughter, and again, I want them to have opportunities in Spokane. Sure, they can go away and find opportunities elsewhere, but my goal would be to say that they could find opportunities here if that's what they choose, and their friends and the kids that are their age, looking at that next generation and finding work here and being able to raise a family if that's what they choose. So,
okay. Well, thank you for joining us, Marcus.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me on.
Wish you the best of luck on the campaign.
All right, thanks, Lon.
Mm-hmm.
Meet the Candidate is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. The Meet the Candidate series is sponsored as a community service by the Ponderosa Republican Women's Club, the Law Office of D.C. Cronin, and We Believe, We Vote. All Meet the Candidate conversations are posted on our YouTube channel, posted as a podcast on our website, and will be featured in our 24/7 live stream. Find us at SpokaneTalksOnline.com.